Good afternoon, y'all. I am going to time myself so I don't take up all the lunch. What I would like to do today, I want to speak for about 25 or 30 minutes and then open up the floor for a few questions. I want to thank Carol Oust for the invitation and Joe Bowers. I want to thank y'all for the invitation to be here today. It is an immense honor to be in a room full of educators. 25 years ago, I could not imagine being in this room speaking to y'all today. My first story that I'm going to tell is what I titled From the Waffle House to the State House. So, I wasn't always a State House representative. I actually just won my first election to the General Assembly in January in a special election. I had a primary, a runoff, and then a general election in January, and I just served my first term, which was only 1 year. Typically you serve 2-year terms, but I came in the middle of a special election. And a couple weeks ago, I just won re-election to my second term, which will be a full 2 years. And so I'm still living on caffeine and adrenaline. I love this job. And it is a true honor for me to be able to represent folks from the Charleston community. My district is 99, and I represent Daniel Island, North Mount Pleasant, 2/3 of Hanahan, and like 2 streets in Goose Creek. And I grew up in Berkeley County. I represent both Berkeley and Charleston County. I grew up in the city of Goose Creek. And I wasn't always, I guess, the honorable, less esteemed, I guess, these days, because in the mid-90s, I was more of a troubled sort of child. I dropped out of school in, I guess, January of 1995. I was 17 years old. I had just turned 17. And I was a student at Stratford High School in Goose Creek. And the first thing I did was go take a job at Waffle House on College Park Road in Latson. Anyone ever been there? I stood on a silver piece of duct tape about a foot wide, and I yelled to the cooks in the back how to have your hash browns smothered, covered, and chimed. And I wore the uniform, I wore it with pride. I loved that job. Absolutely loved it. The only problem was I didn't have a high school diploma. And I learned a lot during this time. I learned the value of hard work. And I learned what real people do every single day to support their family. I dropped out of school because I was bullied. And I was bullied by an athlete on the football team who I would not accept a date with. And the bullying, not only was it emotional and mental, it was also physical. I remember being pushed into the cement walls of Stratford High School. I remember being pushed into a wall of metal lockers. I remember being pushed into a crowd of students one morning. And I had just had my limit. And at the time, I didn't have the courage, really, to speak up about it, talk about it with people, because I was ashamed, I was embarrassed, I didn't know why it was happening. And I think what we know today about students growing up is that when you're not confident in yourself, when you don't have that sort of confidence and courage, you are left vulnerable to abuse. And I was one of those students. I know you don't believe it today, but back then I was. And I was in and out of counseling, student counseling, family counseling, you name it. I tried every kind of antidepressant on the market. It did not work. And so I really struggled. And I was a student who was an athlete. At one time, I had straight A's. I was failing my classes. I was not living up to my coursework. I came from suburbia. I came from a good family. My father was a retired Army general. And I couldn't fix myself. I just was not in that place. And so I was 17. And what does a 17-year-old kid know? Absolutely everything. And so I thought, great idea, I'm going to drop out of school. And if it weren't for the principal of my high school, who was a graduate of the Citadel, I would not be where I am today. Do any of y'all remember or know a George McCracken? Anybody? Love him. Saved my life. Well, Mr. McCracken called me into his office the spring of '95, and he's like, what the hell are you doing? What is going on here? I don't understand. And he offered me 3 options. He said I could come and be a student. I could sit and take a test called the GED to get my high school degree. Or the third option was that I could attend courses at Trident Technical College and get my diploma that way. The first two were not an option. There was no way in hell I was going back to school. I was not going back, I was done. I wasn't gonna sit for a test. I never took the SATs. The one time I took the ACT, I answered ABCD, ABCD, ABCD. That gets you about a 22. At least it did back in 1994, 95. So I know this. But I knew better, and those were not options for me. And so I took them up on the opportunity to take courses at Trident Technical College, and I did that at night and on the weekends. Literally 6 months later, I was standing in the hallway of Stratford High School, unceremoniously, no family, no friends, shaking George McCracken's hand and accepting my diploma, which, by the way, I just found in my garage literally about 8 weeks ago. It's now in my office. I'm a pack rat. I'm sure I have the Waffle House uniform somewhere in there too. I haven't made it through all my garage boxes. I'm doing one box at a time right now. But I found it about 8 weeks ago and posted it on social media. I was so proud of finding it. But I have not stepped back into the halls of Stratford since receiving that diploma. And George McCracken told me that I was the first student in Berkeley County to be able to receive her high school diploma by taking college courses. Today, it's a whole different story, and I'm really proud of where we are. We'll talk about that a little bit later, of where Charleston, where the state of South Carolina is in education, offering choices to students and families. But if it were not for him, I would not be here. And that was the summer of 1995. In the summer of 1996, if some of y'all were in Charleston, remember the Citadel was going through some interesting times. There was a woman by the name of Shannon Faulkner who utilized some fancy attorneys out of New York to sue the Citadel to get into the college, which at that time was all male, and had been all male for 154 years. At the time, in the mid-90s, I was actually against women going to the Citadel. I know that in education, in the studies that I've read, there is value in single-gender educational opportunities, both for boys and girls, men and women. And I respected that. And until 1996, I was always against women going there. Then in the summer of 1996, and I was a news junkie, I was watching the news. It was on a Wednesday night in the middle of summer, I think it was June. And I remember watching the television that night, getting off work, and seeing the chairman of the Citadel's Board of Visitors, his name was Jimmy Jones. He got on the television and said the Citadel was going to give up the fight. VMI, the Virginia Military Institute in Virginia, they had just lost a Supreme Court case. And the Supreme Court said that because they were state funded with state money, they had to allow women into the school. And the Citadel stopped fighting the fight, and they decided to admit women literally 8 weeks later. So Jones is on the television saying that they're going to accept women. This is a Wednesday night. Thursday morning, I called in sick at work. And I drove down to campus, this is from Moose Creek, down to exit 219 on I-26. And I rolled up to admissions in Bond Hall on the Citadel campus alone again. No fanfare, unceremoniously, nobody was around, nobody knew. And I picked up an application, which at that point was on paper, right? Microsoft Word was brand new. And we still were learning how to use it back then. So I picked it up, and that night I filled it out. I drove back down to campus on Friday, and I turned in the application. On Monday, a few days later, the school called me and said that I had been tentatively accepted to the school, and that reporting day was August 24th. The only thing I had to do was do my medical exam and pass that. The only problem in this scenario is that I have not told my family. This is a problem with 17-year-olds and then 18-year-olds who know everything. So the first person I told was my mother. She's my confidant. She knows every secret, knows where the bodies are buried, knows all my skeletons. And I went to her and I told her what my intentions were. And her response to me was, "That's great. Now you need to tell your father." My father is a 1963 graduate of the Citadel, had always been against women going there. He retired after 28 years in the Army, retired a brigadier general, which is 1 star. He was too crazy to get 2, which is a lot, okay? He served 3 tours of combat, the first in 1964 in the coup d'etat in the Dominican Republic, and 2 tours in Vietnam. He has earned or been awarded every commendation that the United States Army had to offer, with the exception of the Medal of Honor, that for which he was nominated for, and received the Distinguished Service Cross in that battle. To say that he was intimidated would be a bit of an understatement of a lifetime. So it took me about a week to get up the courage to have this conversation with my father. Literally a week. There's a pattern here, which you'll soon find out. And he told me all the reasons why I would not want to go to the Citadel. That it would be tough, I would want to quit, I would cry, I would hate it, I wouldn't be able to succeed, that I didn't know what I was doing, that I wasn't prepared mentally or physically, etc. I was 18 at the time, and we know everything. So I then began to tell him, well, these are all the reasons why I want to go to the Citadel. It's a small classroom environment, 25 students on average. It's a small campus. I will not be in a classroom with 300 students. It's a challenging environment. To say that I needed self-discipline would be another understatement of a lifetime. I knew, I was smart enough to know at that time what I needed. And I needed the discipline, I needed to be challenged. But I also had a personal goal. I'm not a feminist. In fact, I would tell you I'm the anti-feminist. I think feminism has gone too far and characterized the movement. So my reasoning for going there was a personal one. It was an opportunity for me to, one, follow in my father's footsteps, someone I had failed, because I quit school, I quit swimming, I quit track and field. I gave up on myself at 17, because I didn't believe in myself, I didn't have the confidence. And I had something to prove that, one, I could follow in his footsteps, that two, I could enter into an adverse environment, a challenging environment, and I wouldn't quit. Because quitting, I learned when I quit school, when I quit high school, is not an option. It is the weak way out. And I could not face myself. And I had this personal journey where I decided I wanted to go in this environment and have something to prove to myself. I had a chip on my shoulder because of my experiences as a teenager and some of the decisions that I had made, good, bad, and indifferent. I have no regrets. Because if you don't learn from those mistakes, you're not learning. And so it was the summer of '96, I literally had about 6 to 8 weeks to train. I ran 3 to 5 miles per day to get ready. I learned how to do sit-ups, and I learned how to do a real push-up, which means your knees cannot be on the ground. Like, you gotta be full plank. I can't do a push-up to save my life today at 40, but back in those days, I could do like 60 or 70 or 80 in 2 minutes. I don't know how I did it. But there were 2 things that my father taught me. One was how to spit shine a pair of leather shoes, and then how to do a real push-up. But every time I would go to my father and I would ask him, hey Dad, what's the Citadel like? What's the hell going to be like? And what's it like to be a novice, or the nickname that they call you when you're a freshman? And all he would do is sit there and laugh. Because he knew what was going to happen. I had no idea. The only person I really got information from was Pat Conroy when I read Words of Discipline. How many of y'all have seen that, read that? Seen the movie, read the book, etc. I had Pat Conroy. That was it. And so I was, wild-eyed, and I was like, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? There's no turning back at this point. But I also felt like, as a woman, I was one of 4 women going in 1996. I also had the feeling that I would have to work twice as hard to be seen as half as good. I don't like that reality, but that is the reality that we live in when you live in a man's world, in a male-dominated area, whether it's in business or student life, etc. So, when you go to be dropped off to the Citadel, they have what is called, I don't call it that, I call it the Last Supper. So, it's where the parents get to take their kids into the mess hall and have one final meal with them, and how amazing and beautiful and how great the food is, and you get Kool-Aid and juice and all these great amenities there. And at that point, your parents drop you off at the barracks. And I hug my mother goodbye. She's in tears, tells me how much she loves me. She embraces me fully in her arms and tells me all these wonderful things that I am at that point. I turn to my father, who extends his arm to shake my hand. And his final words to me were this: Nancy, don't call home if you want to quit. Just put on your shoes and start walking. And with that, I went off to the Citadel. And the first week is called Hell Week. For the men, they shave their heads. For the women at that time, they don't do it anymore. But they cut all of my hair off. My hair was about this long going in. They gave me about an inch on top. And it was tapered on the sides and in the back. And Joe, I think my hair was shorter than yours when I entered. And I couldn't look at myself in the mirror for a week. Because if I did, I realized I was a spitting image of my brother James. I was valedictorian, had missed 2 questions on the SAT. I was not that guy. And so it was a very hardening sort of experience. The second big moment during Hell Week is after you get your haircut and everybody cries about it, is the PT test. And you have to run 2 miles, you have to do as many push-ups and sit-ups as you can in 2 minutes. That day was a big day. I beat out all but 4 male students in my battalion on that PT test. I wanted to level the playing field and let people know that I meant business. That I was going to work hard and have the courage to work hard, have the confidence in myself to be that person and not look back. And from that moment forward, I started changing a lot of minds. Because as you can imagine, when you were the first woman in the school in 1996, there were a lot of people that were still unhappy about women at the Citadel. And there was a lot to overcome. But one of the first steps that I learned in life, in my days at Waffle House and elsewhere, is the value of hard work. You don't have to dress like $1 million. I mean, I bought this skirt on the sale rack at H&M for $3.99. I bought the blazer for $11 from Persona after the Christmas sales last year. But if you show up on time, if you dress the part, and it doesn't have to be expensive, and you work hard, you can do anything you want as long as you set your mind to it. And I wanted the cadets to know, the alumni, that I was there to work hard. I dressed the part, and I worked hard every single day, 7 days a week. For the first time in my life, too, by the end of this experience, I graduated magna cum laude. And for me, that was a 3.89 GPA. Never in my wildest dreams, because I consider myself street smart, not book smart, did I think I would be able to graduate from the Citadel under those circumstances at the top of my class. And that was a momentous occasion for me that day. So I graduated in 3 years. I already had a year at Trident Tech and graduated in 3 years. And I remember crossing the stage, or getting ready to cross the stage in May of 1999, almost 20 years ago, believe it or not. I was pale as a ghost. And I remember just thinking to myself, oh my gosh, what have I just done? Like, it just stunned me. I just realized that I was going to be the first woman to graduate from the Citadel. I had not thought about it in any sort of terms up until that point, because I had something to prove. I wanted to prove I could get good grades, that I could be successful, and lastly, that I would not quit. I almost threw up. I mean, I was so overwhelmed by the moment. And it was an amazing moment because at the Citadel, one of the traditions that you have is that your father, or now mother, if they were graduates of the Citadel, they could hand you your diploma when you graduated. So I walk up on stage and I'm shaking hands and going towards my father. And all I see are the tears of a man who is so proud of his daughter. There are no words, there was no I love you. It was just tears. And in that moment, I melted, and I knew that I could achieve anything I wanted in life. I learned so talk to students, I talk about courage, and I talk about confidence. And if you ever invite me to one of your schools to talk to your students, I'm happy to do it. But these are the two messages that I carry. But I also really learned that patience really is a virtue. My colleagues in the House, like Representative Taylor is here today, they will tell you I have very little of it. I didn't learn that lesson very well at the Citadel, but having the courage to at least have an internal conversation with yourself about what your goals are. And for some, for me at the time, it was getting through each day. And then that became each week. And then it was, what am I going to do in 30 days? And then, where can I be a year from now? But having a conversation, if you're not willing to have it with somebody else, but with yourself, look yourself in the mirror and say, this is my goal. This is what I want to do. And secondly, on top of having that courage, is having the confidence to follow that dream or follow that goal. And I don't care, I fake it till I feel it some days, but if you don't have that confidence, no one else will have confidence in you as a leader. A little bit of humor sometimes goes a long way too. But those are the two biggest lessons that I carry with me today, and I talk about it with students constantly. It doesn't cost a lot of money. All it takes is you having that conversation with yourself and carrying the ball forward every single day. Today, I've been in business for about 20 years. I started out after graduating from the Citadel, I went into big tech consulting. I worked for Anderson Consulting for a number of years, which is now Accenture. In 2008, when my first child was about 2 years old and I was pregnant with my second, I decided that I wanted to work from home and I started my own company. I have sort of an entrepreneurial spirit. If you haven't figured it out yet, I don't work well for other people. Corporate America is not for me. I work better for myself when I am my own boss and don't have a boss to report to. That doesn't work. But I started my own company doing marketing and technology consulting for a number of business-to-business companies in the Southeast. And then in 2009, I picked up my first political client, who happened to be now Senator Tim Scott, and also now the head of OMB, former Congressman Nick Mulvaney. Those were my first two clients, and my first foray into politics. I handled a lot of communications and web development for those folks when they first ran for congressional office. And I loved every minute of it. And I became very passionate about politics. In 2013, I was about 35 years old, and I decided, hey, I'm going to run for office. I'm going to run for U.S. Senate. I mean, I heard of that. At 35, mom of two kids. And everyone said, no, you can't do that. The first person I told was my father. He said, no, don't do that. I failed. $750,000 raised. That gets you about 6% of the vote statewide. And I said I would never do that again. I lied. Last year in 2017, my state house representative resigned, and we had a special election. And instead of being a year-long election, it was about 8 weeks. The special elections are very short, and the calendar is dependent on when the person resigned to when the primary and then general election is. They're back-to-back. And I said, I can do anything for 8 weeks. And I got out there, and I raised about $80,000 in the first 2 weeks, and made my intentions known, and won that race 2-1 in the general, in the primary, the runoff, and the general election. And I haven't looked back since. What I want people to know in the Charleston community, and also throughout the state of South Carolina, is that as representatives, we like to talk a lot. We have egos, we love to talk, but we also have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we listen. And one of the things that I did was listen to the issues, at least that were most important to folks down here in the Low Country. And I put forth an agenda last session, and I'm working on my agenda now for this coming session, to reflect the issues that are most important to folks. And in that, the first one would be infrastructure. Who hates our roads in South Carolina? Who gets stuck in traffic every single day? On your way to work, or to drop off the kids, or some activity. That is the number 1, 2, and 3 issue when I talk to people in Charleston, the Low Country area. And it's not an easy fix. So In 2007, we were spending about $1 billion a year on infrastructure. Fast forward a decade later, a gas tax. We're going to more than double that spending. My biggest frustration on the infrastructure front is getting answers, often from DOT. And this summer, how many experienced the Wando Bridge? Right, we had an experience here where the Wando Bridge broke down and literally shut the entire city down for about 3 or 4 weeks. And I worked really hard. That bridge is in my district. And a lot of, you have between 72,000 and 92,000 vehicles per day that traverse that portion of 526. And so it was really important for me, for one, the safety of commuters on the road, but two, try to get some answers, use that as an opportunity to get answers from DOT. And so I wrote a really long letter, and I got half those responses back that really weren't answers to my questions. But the biggest question I have today is not the funding. We all know where the money is coming from. I want to know where the money is going. And I've been very aggressive on this issue. I'm passionate. Some of y'all women in the room know what that's code for, the B word. I don't mind that. I wear that proudly because I'm not going to stop until I have answers. We've got to finish 526, that's big. We have lights on 526 on the Dunhill Bridge that we just learned in the Post and Courier are going to cost $2 to $3 million to fix. We have to finish the work and start maintenance on the Wando Bridge. What we learned during that experience is that the maintenance of roads in South Carolina is not anywhere near where it should be. And I still, almost a year into holding this seat, don't have the answers on spending. I want to know where spending is by region. I also want to know the cost of maintaining our roads. I know when you live along the coast, the cost of building a bridge or the environmental factors that play into infrastructure here can cost vastly more than maybe other parts of the state. We have crumbling bridges. We have roads that aren't maintained. We're not going to have 526 widened until 2030. And that's unacceptable. And so we need bulldogs, if you will, who will ask the right questions and pursue these issues tirelessly until we get answers. And that's something I'm very passionate about. The second issue that I hear a lot about is VC Summer. Do we have anyone who pays their utilities to SCE&G in the room? That's the second issue. If you can put SCANA and Santee Cooper in a blender and turn it on high and puree it, that is the mess that we're in right now. There is no easy answer to the nuclear plant crisis that we have right now, where 10 years ago the General Assembly approved the Baseload Review Act, and SCANA took advantage of that law 9 times and raised rates on ratepayers 9 times over the last decade with no checks and balances. In fact, I had a conversation with a member of the Public Service Commission a few months ago. The PSC is the outfit that agrees to rate increases and other fees that consumers pay. These individuals are paid over $100,000 a year to sit on this commission. They are appointed by members of the General Assembly. This individual did not know about a $1.25 raise or rate hike last spring that no one knew, that was barely written about. If you're on this commission, you need to be able to answer my question when I asked you why was there a rate increase at all when we're going through this $9 billion mess and trying to find a solution through legal means and through lawmaking and ethics and oversight at the state level. That individual will not be reelected to the commission if my name's on it. I will not vote to put any other person on the PSC who's been there for the last 10 years. That's not happening on my watch. Those would be the top 2 issues. And then the third thing that I want to talk about, I have 20 seconds left, so I'm going to
You're good, you know.
I'm good, okay.
You're good.
The third thing, which is why I'm here today, the third topic that I'm very passionate about is education. Obviously for personal reasons. I love the state of South Carolina. I love serving and representing both Berkeley and Charleston County. And I feel like my story can really relate to students, to educators, to people who are influencing and molding the future of our children, because I have experienced it firsthand. It is why I am passionate about school choice. I sponsored school choice legislation last session. To my dismay last session, we had members of the General Assembly who tried to limit the number of charter schools available to students in the state of South Carolina. Unfreaking believable. You have charter and magnet schools here in Charleston that I know of. Palmetto Scholars Academy, that wait list is over 700 strong. Awesome. I have a child there. We were on a wait list, but they're there now. It's an amazing experience where you can have the opportunity for your 6th grader to get pre-algebra or algebra 1 in the 6th grade rather than 8th or 9th at a traditional public school is mind-blowing. I'm so thrilled that we have students who have that opportunity. But we have so many people, families and students, who want that opportunity. We don't have enough schools. The reason we're so successful with our charter and magnet schools is because there is a need. There is a market out there. It's called supply and demand. The demand is high, and the supply is growing. And it's growing at a, I believe, a reasonable rate. But what we don't want to have happen is we don't want to have the state come down and put burdensome regulations on you all, on our magnet and charter programs, to make it more difficult to provide these opportunities for students. Oceanside has hundreds of students already on a wait list for next year. There's such a great demand. I wish we had Oceanside when I was around. That would have been a perfect opportunity for someone like me who wasn't going to go to school full-time, but had the at least will to take some college courses to get there. That was not an option. And so for someone like me, my only option was to drop out. That should not be an option for our students today. Buist Academy, it's easier to get into Harvard than it is to Buist. So if you read that March article in the Post-Courier, I mean, we're doing so many great things and offering choices to families, but there's so much more that we can be doing. And my message is to lawmakers and folks across the state is that when parents have only one choice in their community, they have no choices. And so I am really proud of the work that you all are doing to provide these opportunities for our students. It is so much better today where we are in 2018 than where we were in the mid-90s. And it's amazing to hear these stories coming from administrators, from teachers, from students themselves when I talk to them about how wonderful these opportunities are. And I would like to see us provide a greater supply of these opportunities because it's not always affordable for families to move to a different neighborhood school. For many, it is unaffordable because I don't care how much money you make or how rich you are, most people are living paycheck to paycheck. One of the pieces of legislation I am working on this coming session has to do with adult charter schools. We tried to pass it last session and it failed. The complaint was around funding. They didn't want K-12 funding to fund this pilot program, which will cost about $2 to $3 million. But we have adults out there who dropped out of school, who are older now, who have the ability to go back and have some time to go back and get that high school diploma. That provides a better economic opportunity for them long-term and for their children. And so this bill is going to provide an adult charter, if you will, for those individuals who want to go back to school. And it will include job training. It will not take funding away from K-12 pupils, from students. As many of you all know, we rank 23rd in the nation in per pupil spending. We are 50th in outcomes. So the last thing we want to do is take any funding away from those students. And we've got to do a better job of getting those dollars into the classroom as well. And so that's one of the exciting pieces of legislation that I will be filing here in the next few weeks. But with that, questions. It's a real honor to be here with you all this afternoon.